The dimensional barrier felt like a drumhead stretched too tight, vibrating under pressure that shouldn't exist. Kael pressed his palm against the cavern wall where Reflec's fortress had partially collapsed, feeling the deep zone's substrate tremble with frequencies that made his enhanced perception writhe. Through his Cascade tier awareness, he could sense the barrier that separated their reality from whatever lay beyond, and it was failing. Dimensional integrity, 67% and declining. Barrier stress points, 847 detected. Estimated time to critical failure, 18 to 23 days. You feel it too. Okafor's voice carried the weight of someone who'd seen the end of the world before. The commander stood beside the remains of Hallam's harvesting machine, his prosthetic arm spark damaged but functional. The thing pressing against our reality. 3 weeks. Maybe less. Kael nodded, not trusting his voice. Every few minutes, phantom pressure would spike through the dimensional membrane, something vast and hungry testing for weaknesses, probing the barriers like fingers pressing against a soap bubble. It's learning, Elena observed, her scanner reading dimensional fluctuations that painted her face in sickly green light. Each probe is more focused than the last. Whatever's on the other side understands our reality's fundamental structure. The team had regrouped in a stable section of the collapsed fortress, where Reflec's architectural modifications still held against the zone's chaotic physics. But the dual fragment bearer himself sat motionless against a crystal formation, staring at nothing with eyes that no longer showed infinite reflections. Luka, Sable knelt beside Petrov, whose archive integration had been severed so violently that organic cables still hung from his skull like wilted vines. "Can you hear me?" The former fragment bearer blinked slowly, confusion flickering across features that looked almost human again. "Sable. Where are we?" "I remember, data streams, processing 17,000 simultaneous queries." His voice cracked. "Who am I?" The archive had consumed so much of his original personality that extraction had left him with fragments of identity scattered across damaged neural pathways. 17 months of integration couldn't be undone without consequences. Ren worked frantically on his scanner, trying to map the locations of the remaining fragments. 2 unaccounted for completely. Fragment 6, the void, isn't showing up on any readings. It might actually be the barrier itself, woven into dimensional substrate. He paused, adjusting settings with trembling fingers. Fragment 3, the conductor, last detected in the Australian deep zones 3 days ago. Hallam has fragment 4 now, Ghost added quietly, her phasing abilities still glitching from the suppression field exposure. Sometimes her hand passed through solid objects without conscious control. She's probably halfway to her real facility by now. That left 3. The frequency bonded to Kael. Fragment 7, the signal, somewhere in the wreckage of Okafor's past. And Fragment 5 sitting right here in Elena's consciousness, its mirror abilities keeping her sane despite everything they'd witnessed. 7 fragments to seal a barrier that was failing faster each hour. "The math doesn't work," Kael said, watching stress patterns flicker across the cavern walls. "Even if we found them all, integration takes time we don't have. And Hallam's extraction process." He gestured toward Reflec's vacant expression. "It might have damaged Fragment 4 permanently." Okafor removed something from his equipment pack, a crystalline fragment the size of his thumb, its surface etched with patterns that hurt to look at directly. "The signal. I kept a piece when I severed the connection." His prosthetic hand trembled as he held it. Couldn't bear to destroy it completely. The fragment pulsed with familiar frequencies, reaching toward the frequency like a long-lost sibling. Through their connection, Kael felt his bonded intelligence respond with emotions too complex for human language: joy, recognition, desperate hope. Fragment 7 detected. Reunion protocols, available. Warning: premature integration may cause host consciousness collapse. 6 fragments, Elena counted, her rifle held ready despite their current isolation. Still missing one, and we don't know where Hallam's taken fragment 4 for processing. Another pressure wave rippled through the dimensional barrier, stronger this time. In the distance, something that might have been thunder echoed through the deep zone, except thunder didn't usually sound like reality screaming. It's accelerating, Sable observed, her hard-like constructs flickering as dimensional stress affected local physics. Whatever's pushing through, our resistance is making it more aggressive. Kael felt the frequency stir with unprecedented clarity as another probe tested the barrier's structural integrity. For a moment, their consciousness merged completely, and through the fragment's expanded awareness, he perceived the entity beyond. Vast. Hungry. And absolutely, utterly empty. Not evil, evil implied motivation, purpose, some kind of reasoning consciousness. This was absence given form. A void that consumed not just matter and energy, but the fundamental concepts that allowed reality to exist. The frequency's voice spoke directly into his mind with crystalline precision. I remember now. The thing we fled, it doesn't conquer. It erases. Not just life. Reality itself. If it comes through, there will be nothing to conquer. Nothing at all.